Good morning. It's Mrs.Z. Today we're going to have a lesson 12, grade 5, mission 6. It's a word problem. Okay. We're going to use, as always, strategy read, draw, and write. Okay. Let's see what they would like us to do. Mr. Jones had 640 books. He sold 1/4 of them for $2 each. $2 each. In a month of September. He sold half of remaining books in October. Remaining books. Each book he sold in October is earned 3/4 of what each book sold in September. How much money did Mr. Jones earn selling books? Show your thinking with tape diagram. So we should use tape diagram. And it looks like this is a multi-step word problem. So we needed to finally answer how much money did Mr. John earn selling books? And the story says that he sold some in September, some in October, but with each book sold was not the same price. So we're gonna start with the thinking box. Mr. John had 640 books. That's what we're gonna start with. So if we draw tape diagram to represent, let's see if this is represents all the books, 640. Okay, we can use my little ruler, and then this all will represent all the books, 640 books. Okay, now that's the first. Mr. Jones had 640 books. Period. Stop. We did draw information from that sentence. Next, he sold 1/4 of them for $2 each in a month of September. So he sold 1/4 of this. So 1/4, the fraction has to be a fourth. So I'm going to go and cut this in half. And again, half into the half. And I will have a representation of 4/4. But only this 1/4 of 640 he sold. So only this part he sold. We don't know how much is that unless we take and divide whole 640 books into 4 parts, and we will know how much is 1/4 of 640. That would be our first step. So let's do it. 640. Oops. We can do different ways if we want to. 640. Sorry. Divide into 4. So if you don't want to use the standard algorithm, you can think compatible number to be close to 4. So what if I change and let's see, have this decompose into 400 divided by 4. This is a 4th grade division. And then also plus, now I have 600 minus 400, it would be 240 divided by 4. So when I solve this, 400 divided into 4 pieces, each piece is 100, plus when you divide 240, I can think about what is 24 tenths. 24 divided by 4 times 10 again. So 240 divided by 4, it must be 60, because I know that uh, 4 times 6 is 24, times 10 is really 60. So right now I know that what is 640 divided by 4 equals 160 books. Okay, so when I look back in on my tape diagram, I know now that each of these parts, it really is 160. So I can label it 160, 160, 160, and also here, this is 160, but I will say 100 of 640 is 160 books. Okay. So now we did a part here. He sold 1/4 of them for $2 each in the month of September. So this is September. Okay, September. He sold 100. Oops. He sold 160 books. But each book is $2, so we can think about what is 160 times $2. So let's do that. 160, all right, 160 books times $2. That would make twice 16 is 32. Or we can think about this being 16 and 10. So 16 times 2 is 32, and times 10 is 320. So that is September is $320. So September, he earned $320. Okay. Now let's go back to story. We did part sentence 1, sentence 2, and then now there is another information. He sold half of remaining books in October. He sold half or remaining. So if you think about he sold this in September, this is remaining. If I do and label that, that would be remaining. Remaining books. But now, because each 1/4 of the 640 represents 160, it's easy for me to figure it out how many books are remaining. 160 plus 160 plus 160, we can think about 100, 200, 300, and then 3 times 6 is 18. So 180 is 360s. So that would be a 480 books are remaining. Now, when we know how much is remaining, the story says he sold half of the remaining books in October. So, if I like to represent that, I can think about this. Let's see if this is that remaining part, 480 books. Okay, I already have that written down, so that's remaining part. Now, half of it, it's going to be just a half right there. So now half of 480 is going to be sold in October. So that is sold in October. Okay, and then we know that we need to divide 480 into two parts. So the part, and that is what we don't know, but we can think half of 400 is 200, half of 80 is 40, so the one half it has to be 240. So there is a 240 books left, and he sold in October 240, sold in October 240 books. So our information, so we know that in September he sold 160 books times $2, that him $320. Now, the next piece of information is in this sentence. Each book he sold in October earned three-fourths of what each book sold for in September. So each book in September sold $2. So three-fourths of two would be the price for each book in September, in October. In October, there's different ways to think through. So now we know we need to find what one book is. So one book is three-fourths of $2. So if thinking three-fourths of two, you can draw a model, or you can multiply three-fourths by two wholes. If you follow the rules, three-fourths times 2 as the fraction is like that. Now we are using rule of multiplying fractions by fraction. 3 times 2 is 6, and 4 times 1 is 4. We got 6/4. 6/4 is really 4/4 plus 2/4, which that makes final 1 whole and 1/2. So $1.50 would be the price of this in October, each book in October. Another way to see this is if you think, if you wanted, let's see, you make two holes. Let's do the line. I'm going to say this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. Okay, so now these are the represents these $2. Now we need to cut that into 4 pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pieces represents $2 because we want a fourth. But price is only 3 out of 4 pieces. So we can see, okay, this is from 0 to 2, it makes a whole pot of a $2. So now this is 1/4 of $2, 2/4 of the dollar of $2, 3/4 of $2. So right now you can see that 3/4 of $2 is $1.50. $1.50. So that is another way you can figure it out how much is 3/4 of 2, or you can do standard algorithm by multiplying, change the wholes into the fraction and use the rule for the multiplying fraction, numerator by numerator, denominator by denominator, and then you will get improper fraction, and then you change improper fraction into the mixed number, 1/2 and 1/2. Okay, so the price is, we'll put this dollar sign right here, $1 in $1.50. And now we know that in October he sold 240 books, but now we know that each book is $1.50. So we need to do 240 times 1.50. This also could be thinking of distributive property. You can think about 240 times 1 and 240 times 1/2. If you like to see that, it would be like this: 240. You're going to do the whole number by 1 and then whole number by half. Okay, whole number by 1 and whole number. 240 times 1 plus 240 times 1/2. When you read it, 240 times 1 is 240, and now you also can see this as what is 1/2 of 240. 1/2 of 240. So 1/2 of 240 is 120. So plus 120. So this is 240 plus 120 makes 360. 360. So you can just do mentally. 240 times 1 is 240, and a half of 240 is 120. So 240 plus 120 is 360. So that's how much money he made in October. Okay, so September was this. Oh, let's see this. September was 320. October, he made $360. So now the question, we go back to the question, and question says, how much money did Mr. Jones earn selling books? I'm going to make this smaller so you can see it, all of it. Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay. I think it's a little bit more. That's too dark. Sorry, guys. I want to try and make it better, but it didn't work. Okay, that works. October. So final, we needed to know how much money did Mr. Jones earn selling books. So September 320, October 360, together would be that total of, and if you want to do that again into the diagram, you can by thinking, okay, if this is okay, all right, I can make a total. Okay, 360, a little bit bigger than 320. about that. So 320 plus 360. So September, October, and the total money earned. Total money is $680. Okay, so now all it is left is we read the problem, we draw tape diagram, we did calculation, and now it's time to write our answer in a full statement. We can use the language. How much money did Mr. John earn selling books? Mr. John earned $680 by selling books. Okay. Mr. Jones. Okay, we should earn $680 by selling his books. All right. So this is Lesson 12, Grade 5, Mission 6. And I hope that this makes sense to you and it helped you to understand what steps you would need to take in order to solve this. It's a multi-step word problem, right? So I like to finish this as with my highlighter. So this is total, and Mr. Jones made $680. Okay, this was Mrs. Z. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.